you skip breakfast, your metabolism is going to come to a screeching halt. If you skip breakfast, you're going to have an increased chance of stroke or a heart attack. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. How many times have you heard something like that in regards to breakfast? Well, I'm here to let you know, nobody skips breakfast. Nobody. I'm Tisha with the Keto Helpline, and we're going to be talking about some misinformation circulating about the infamous meal of breakfast. But before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please make sure you click the red subscribe button and don't forget that bell icon so you can be notified. Anytime I have something to say, you'll get a little notification just to let you know so you can go ahead and tune back in again. For everybody that's here watching, I so appreciate all of you. Please feel free to share this information with anybody you know who may have questions, want to get some misinformation clarified, and want to learn a little bit more about how to live a keto lifestyle. I would definitely appreciate that. Don't forget you can find me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My handle is pretty simple. It's just Keto Helpline. Again, I am Tisha with the Keto Helpline, and let's get this thing started. So how often have you heard somebody say you can't skip breakfast? If you do, it's detrimental to your health. If you skip breakfast, you have an increased risk of all of these diseases and scary things happening to you, that it's the most important meal of the day. Well, let's actually break that down. What is breakfast? Breakfast is the meal of the day where you break your fast. That's what breakfast is. So if you eat dinner at 7 o'clock last night and you decide to have breakfast at 7 o'clock this morning, or you decide to have your first meal of the day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock at night, whether you follow IF or OMAD, whatever the case is, when you have that first meal, that's breakfast. There's nothing that says breakfast has to happen at 7 a.m. Breakfast can be at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m. It could be any time of the day, because all it is the first meal of the day. It is the meal that you are using to break your fast. So whether you're doing IF or OMAD, whether you're doing a 12-12 window, whether you just eat 3 meals a day, but your meals don't start until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's okay. You're not skipping breakfast. You're not having coffee for breakfast because you chose to have coffee and not sit down and have a meal to eat either. So one of the things that I think can help you not end up in a conversation with somebody who's going to try to lecture you on whether or not you should skip breakfast is don't tell people you're skipping breakfast. Just because you're not eating your first meal at 7 o'clock in the morning does not mean you're skipping breakfast. You can simply say, I start my day with a cup of coffee, and then I usually have my first meal around 11 a.m. or 2 p.m., or I don't have my first meal of the day until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you're breaking your fast. So now that we can all be clear on the fact that nobody actually skips breakfast, unless you have just chosen to never eat again, then you're skipping breakfast because you're never going to break your fast. But whenever you have that first meal, that is your breakfast. Regardless of the kind of food you're eating, that is when you are breaking your fast, which is technically your breakfast meal, regardless of the time of day. Now, one of the things I do want to say that is important, yes, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The meal that you decide to break your fast with is important to your health. And what you decide to eat during that meal is also important. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about how long your fast may have been and if you should be eating different things, if you've gone a longer period of time. I'm just going to talk about our standard 12-12 window that we focus a lot on, especially in the 31-day keto challenge. So if you're doing a standard 12 on, 12 off, and you're going to have your first meal of the day, as I include in our meal plan, should have a higher healthy fat content. It just should. Your first meal of the day should have higher fats. I do not recommend having a carb, sweet, friendly kind of meal in the beginning. So don't opt for Greek yogurt with blueberries or things like that. You don't really want to fuel your body initially with carbs. We're already cutting down carbs, we know that, but there are still carbs in vegetables and things like that. So if your first meal of the day is a salad, there are some better choices you could be making instead. We are fat burners. That's what we're doing on keto. We are transitioning from being sugar burners to fat burners. And when you're starting that first meal of the day, no matter what time of day it is, you want to make sure you're fueling your body with its preferred fuel, and that is fat. So your healthy fat. So maybe your first meal of the day is a chicken thigh with some avocado. Or maybe your first meal of the day is some scrambled eggs and bacon. Or maybe your first meal of the day is a steak, and maybe you're cooking it in ghee. Whatever it is, that first meal of the day, you want to have some healthier fats in your meal to make that the start of your day. So you have that energy, you have that fuel. It's going to help get you through the rest of the day. So I hope that straightens out the misinformation and the fear tactics out there that if you skip breakfast, something horrible is going to happen to you. Nobody skips breakfast. Everybody breaks a fast. It just happens to happen at different times of the day. I am Tisha with the Keto Helpline. I appreciate you all so much for being here. Thank you very much. Please make sure you share this video with as many people as you'd like, and come back and see me again real soon. Have a great day, everybody, and keep ketoing on. Bye-bye.